It's Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined for the first time on the channel by 7-0 light heavyweight Kyle Davies. Kyle, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. Your management team at Summit Sports are calling you British boxing's best kept secret. I mean, after doing an interview, you probably won't be a secret anymore, but it's still a big praise. Do you deserve it?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely, I've just been working pretty much behind, the scenes on small hall shows, and I think people around the boxing circuit now know of me. But it's about getting the wider audience now starting to know about me.
Yeah, well, you've knocked a few of your seven opponents out, including a fellow unbeaten fighter not that long ago. So you're not being easily matched, I think it's fair to say. How have you found it so far, kind of building on that small hall circuit?
It's been good. A lot of learning. I only had 7 amateur fights, so I think it was good to be getting the right opponents. I just not getting too easy a fights because you don't learn nothing. I've learned a lot from boxing the undefeated opponent. I boxed quite a tough lad last time who hadn't been stopped by like he has been now, but he hadn't been stopped. So that was something new. So yeah, I think getting these tougher fights and the right fights are a lot more beneficial than just having people come in there just to make up the numbers. I like someone come and give it a go.
And given you have had an abbreviated amateur career, what age were you and how did you first get into boxing?
Well, it runs in the family. Scott Lawton is my cousin who's won English title.
Yeah, I know Scott.
Pro. Yeah, so it's been in the family for a while, but I never went to a boxing gym till I was 14. Just joined in with like the semi-pro white collar, just joined in. Ended up going amateur when I was about 15. I think I had my first bout at 15, then decided to turn over at 18 as soon as I turned 18.
And you've only had seven fights. Obviously, you're what, 23 now?
Yeah, 23.
What's been, is it mainly COVID because of the pandemic with the inactivity?
Yeah, so when I turned over, it was in COVID. So I didn't box until I think maybe I was 20 or 19. So that was already a year and a half out. And then it was just a little bit slow at the start of the career. I think I only had one or two in the space of a year or two. Um, and then I happened to went and had about five in the space of a year and a half. So yeah, it's starting to come together now.
What made you decide to turn over so young rather than stay amateur, get a bit more experience in that side?
I just started to not fall out of love with it. I just wanted to turn over. It was hard matching me. I was quite heavy at young, so there was not many matches. Every time I boxed in a tournament, there was only a straight final. So I kind of thought, you know what, I'm gonna instead of keep waiting around, just turn over. And I can remember I went up to watch Anthony Yarde train when I was 18, and I sparred him, and I went from that day. I went, oh, I just want to turn over. I knew it would be an hard transition, but I was ready for that next step.
How did that come about? How did they know about you?
My trainer's been going up there since before, we started training together, just watching Ant and Tundi and the whole team. And, just so he's been going up for a while. So we just literally said, can I bring my fighter? And we got to go up. And ever since then, we've been going quite a lot of sport with Ant for well, since I was 18, since I've been 18. So we've done rounds on and off.
And I believe, obviously you need to fill the gaps in your education, if you like, through not having a long amateur career. You've sparred quite a lot of the best domestic light heavies, is that right?
Yeah, and I think that's what's been helping me. We're sparring everyone. We sparred everyone pretty much, since being me about 19. So I've gained that much experience in sparring that, well, not going to say it makes up for the amateur career, but it definitely plays a big part. I've been in with people that have had hundreds of amateur bouts before. So yeah, I take experience from that.
And so then a twofold question in all those sparring sessions, who's hit you the hardest and who do you feel you've learned the most against?
Do you know what? I think they've all hit me pretty hard. You would get it like all of them. I couldn't sing one out because what something I learned from sparring them is when you get up to that level, there's none of this. Oh, he doesn't really punch. The people you might think doesn't punches just as hard. But I've learned a lot off all of them. especially doing rounds with Ben, obviously with being, an Olympic medalist, like the amount of experience he's had pro and amateur now. And, even with Lyndon, Dan, all these ones that have mixed it at a high level at pro as well. Little tricks I can take from them that they've obviously took from being, world level, British level, European level. So I take it from all of them. Everyone I try and take something from and definitely learn something from.
And Ben, who you mentioned there, Ben Whittaker, he's clearly being fast tracked. There's already been talk of him fighting a Dan Aziz, for example. I know Dan's got his own fight lined up now. But having been in the ring with him and shared those rounds, how do you think he compares with some of the more established names who've got more professional experience?
Yeah, defo up there. Skill wise, I can't speak for what happens on the night because it's all different, isn't it? But he's had big ring walkouts. He's had a lot of go watch him. So I don't think the occasion's gonna get to him. So from what he's obviously got the skill. So I think that's definitely a good move for him. To step up like that and keep stepping up, and then obviously sure he'll take the opportunity with both hands if he gets given it. So will any of them lads. It'd be a good fight for everyone.
There's something I think we've asked everyone who we've spoken to sparred Ben Whittaker, so you're no different. Did he showboat at any point?
No, I think he's down to business and sparring. You don't see that side. I think that's very much for the, when the cameras come on and what comes out in the night. You'll see glimpses of it, but I'm sure if he's been told to work on something specific, that's what he sticks to in camp. And then I think on the night, it just comes out naturally.
And you mentioned that all the rounds you've done with Anthony Yarde, he's obviously inactive at the moment due to a dispute with his promoters. How good do you think he is, and how much can he still achieve, assuming this can get ironed out and he comes back?
Yeah, oh yeah, really good. Like, I remember, he was probably one of the first, top level I've been, and just some of the stuff it's hard to explain to people. Do you know when you've been in there, I can just tell the levels that he's got, and I think he will go win a world title. Obviously, when everything's sorted out and he gets back on track, I truly believe, that he will.
And what are your kind of own ambitions? You came to boxing relatively late. Most people say, "Oh, I want to win a world title," but have you got kind of short and medium term goals alongside?
No, it just depends what path I get put on. The ultimate goal is to win a world title, whether I get put down a British title route, whether I fight for an international bout, the ultimate goal is to that world level. So however my team manages feel fit for me to get to that position, I'll win whatever I've got to win on the way there.
And talking about your team, we know you're managed, of course, by Summit Sports, and no major TV promoter on board yet. Who do you train with? Where do you train?
Yes, it's a co-managementship between Summit and Joe Eccleston, who's been my coach since my first amateur bout. So we've been together since I was 16, 17. And we've got our own gym, Bluestone Boxing, now. So it's just us two based in that gym. We've got some up and coming amateurs that are looking to turn over, but it's a small stable at the minute. It was just us two until a few months ago. So yeah, I train with Joe. He's my head coach and has been since my first amateur bout.
Who are like your boxing idols or people that you've watched on tape that you like the look of style wise?
Um, your usual Roy Jones was a big one for me. I really like Davies at the min tank in a way. I've always watched Mayweather. And like I said, I just take stuff from all of them. James Toney is my favourite fighter
Yeah.
of all time. James Toney, yeah. But like I say, from the sparring, and try and take tricks from all of them. I know I'm not a tank. I'm not in any way. I'm not Mayweather, but I can definitely take little things that work for me, and that's what I try to do when I watch them top people, and also how they train and stay dedicated is a big thing.
James Toney, obviously one of the best fighters of all time, certainly from my generation. What do you admire the most about him?
Just the style, his defensively very good, and he also knew how to knock people out as well, and his whole attitude. Definitely the low weights. I mean, as he got a bit heavier, he said he got a bit lazier, but definitely he adapted on his weight as well. He could change his style. He wasn't obviously as fast when he got heavier, but he knew how to change it and use that defense and counter punching. So he's just a style that I really like.
And just going back to the sparring for a minute, being able to be competitive in the rounds with the likes of Ben Whittaker, Anthony Yarde, Dan Aziz, Lyndon Arthur, what does
Yeah.
that do for your own kind of self-belief?
Oh yeah, it's really good. It helps me and it also shows me where I need to be and want to be, I can never get complacent in them spars. So I feel like I'm always trying to be the best. And I just feel like if I'm competing now, I've still got so much more to learn. So it keeps me focused and knowing that, there's a very good chance I will be at that level in my own time.
And you're back in action this weekend, Saturday night in Nottingham. What are you expecting to show that maybe you haven't before in this performance?
Uh, just a lot of boxing. Just been working on, real not boxing. I'm not looking for no stoppages. I'm looking to box and let it come naturally and show everyone, I can punch, but I'm also just as good as a boxer and I can box 8 rounds, disciplined if I ever have to.
Have you seen or heard of any big time TV promoters kind of buzzing around asking your management team about you, that kind of thing yet?
Not really. I don't get involved. I let them sort it out. I just try and focus on like now, unless I've been told, it's happening and we're going down to talks about something, talks and that, I let them sort it and not get involved too much until it's kind of an actual possibility rather than kind of all maybes or, so not as of yet, but I'm sure I'm hoping at the end of this year something might come up.
Given that boxing is in your family, Scott Lawton obviously achieved really well at domestic level. Why do you think it took you so long to switch to the sport at 14?
Mum wouldn't let me go, really. That's one of them. Yeah, I can remember at about 14, 15, don't think she had no choice. But I'd done a little bit when I was young, but I just think it was very much like being young, doing a bit of everything. I played football, I ride horses as well, so we compete in that a lot. I've had a go at boxing for a little bit. I'm sure I've had a go at other stuff. So I think it was just one of them, whereas I was a bit older at 14, 15. I knew once I'd been a while that I wanted to do that.
Do you still do the horse riding?
Not as much, obviously, because of training, but yeah, we used to compete show jumping at quite a good level every weekend. So, to be honest, I was there all the time. We were at horse shows, sometimes for a week every weekend. So that was my main focus when I was younger.
What decided it in the end? What made boxing win out over show jumping, equestrianism?
Yeah, it's just only recently I just got so busy with boxing. Sparring, traveling around sparring. It's a high risk of injury the horses, so it just that took a back seat. And boxing, obviously, I think I'm a lot better boxer than I am horse rider. So I thought, what, I think I might get more out of boxing.
Any transferable skills?
Yeah, I think there is, you
Yeah.
have to have a lot of balance around a horse. You've got to be very calm. The horse feeds off your energy, so you have to learn to be quite calm when riding. So I think that does transfer to, fight night where the nerves are there. When you get in the ring, you have to just calm it and focus on the task. I think that does transfer from the horses, more nervous you are and show that the more nervous the horse is going to be.
Great stuff. Mate, it's been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit. Just before I let you go, tell people out there they can find you on the different social media platforms so they can get in touch ahead of the fight.
Yeah, so it's Kyle Davies Boxing or Boxer on Facebook. Same in Instagram, Kyle Davies Boxing. Or obviously, if you go through Summit for anything like managerial stuff, go through Summit Sports on Instagram.
Brilliant. Really appreciate your time.
Ah,
Very best of
thanks.
luck for Saturday night as well. And yeah, look forward to seeing it or at least seeing the result.
Yeah, thank you.